Hey guys, welcome to the Desi Crypto Show. Today we have a very special guest. In 2011, there was an image of a cat called Nyan Cat, which blew up and the internet went crazy. And we have the creator of Nyan Cat with us. His name is Chris. And Chris, thank you for being here.
Oh no, thanks so much for having me. I'm always ready to talk about NFT stuff, and I'm ready to go. Let's make this happen.
Awesome. So I'll give you like when I first encountered Nancat, and I think I just did a bit of research because I was in a forum, and we had a big meme culture, and people were going crazy about this website called Nyan.cat.
Yes.
And was that something you made?
I wasn't the actual person that
Uh,
like built the website, but I'm
uh,
the person that owns it. And I'm the one that like runs it right now.
awesome.
Um, Originally, it was another person that made it, but he like ended up giving it to me,
That's
and me and
awesome.
my partner have actually been running it these past few years, and I'm hoping to keep it running forever because like this is like an internet iconic landmark, and I just kind of have it up there every now and then. I'll update it with like new Nyan Cats or new designs or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not like the most like tech savvy person on it, but I'm working on it. I'm working on this every single day. But yeah, like
Yeah.
Nyan has been going strong for 10 years, and that website's like always getting lots of hits. I'm getting like responses all the time from
That's
it.
awesome. So like back in the days, the question was like, how long can you watch this, right? And
Yes.
there's this cat was just going nan, 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 nan.
Yes.
So it was just a fun experience, and I think that just broke the internet. So can you tell us a little bit before we get into that? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do? What were you
Yeah.
doing back then?
Yeah, so my name is Chris. I'm currently 35 years old. I live in Texas right now, and I'm just kind of an artist. At the end of the day, I've always been drawing lots of. I've been drawing stuff like since I was a kid. Lots of stick figure comics here and there. I've kind of been doing art like I want to say almost professionally for almost 20 years now. Like it's been definitely a long history with all the stuff that I've been doing, lots of ups and downs. But yeah, so Nyan Cat it was a very random and it just kind of like it was like all worlds collided at the precise moment in time kind of situation. I created Nyan Cat when it was about 10 years ago. Actually, we're still in the 10th anniversary right now of Nyan Cat, and I just kind of created it just for fun. I based it off my cat, Marty, who was like a Russian blue, and I kind of like personified him into like a pixel image form. I honestly wasn't expecting anything to come from it. I like posted it on Twitter and my Tumblr, and I went to bed. And then I wake up the next day and like I have hundreds of emails like already waiting for me, and I'm just like, what? Like, and it's kind of been like that ever since. Like ever since I hit that publish button, I've just kind of like hit the ground running. It's been definitely an experience these past 10 years for sure.
That's good to know. I mean, I want to understand how were you feeling that time, right? Like when suddenly this crew, just blew up, and were you confused, or what were you thinking?
Oh yeah, I was definitely confused because first of all, I was already starting like a new job at that time, and I was juggling like the new responsibilities and the internet, which was just going wild. Like literally every day, I had hundreds of emails waiting for me with questions and with comments. People just saying they loved it, people trying to like figure out more about it in general. And and back then I knew nothing about this. Like I knew nothing
Mhm.
about how everything worked on the internet, and I was very shocked and surprised, but also like just like I felt just very blessed because it was such a great feeling knowing that so many people around the world were just like going crazy over my artwork. um but yeah, it was definitely confusing, and it kind of put me on this path where like I just had to learn so much new stuff, and I feel like I've become better ever since, just having that sense of having like a purpose with my artwork and people loving it all around the world. It definitely veered me into the right path, and I feel so much better for it as a person.
I'm so happy to hear that. So if correct me if I'm wrong, you did this while you were live streaming your art. right?
Yes. So it was actually a charity. I forgot. Yeah, I totally forgot this. It was a charity piece actually. That week, way back in, I want to say it was like April 1st, like a week before it. I was doing a charity drive because there was like a lot of natural disasters going on at the time, and I was just like kind of just doodling stuff on live stream back when live stream was a thing. I don't think it's a website anymore, but like it used to be. And I would just doodle whatever people wanted in the chat room, and if they wanted to like put in a tip, then all of that money would go to the American Red Cross. And I honestly didn't make that much money at the time. It was, I want to say, total for that whole week, it was like less than $200 total. But like I was on there for hours just drawing stuff, and it was just fun. Like I wasn't even like trying to like rally stuff, but people were really being really cool about it. And during that chat room, somebody was like, there was like nothing going on for a moment, and I was like, hey everybody, what do you guys want to draw? What do you guys want me to draw? And then like all the comments came in: cats, rainbows, breakfast pastries, like all that stuff kind of was there. And I was like, oh, let me see what I could do. And so I drew my cat. Originally it was like a little doodle. It was just like a really quick doodle. And I drew him with the breakfast pastry, and the rainbows were going in all directions. It wasn't a trail at that moment. But yeah, it was literally that, and everybody loved it. So it was kind of weird. Like the energy in the chat room was so crazy over this image, and I was like, okay, I need to take this a little further. So that night is when I actually created the pixel image. It took over 6 hours, and I know it was like 6 a.m. when I went to bed that night. But it was just literally that. It was me testing myself, trying to see if I could do it, because like I was literally starting pixel art at that moment. And it was just one of my attempts basically, and that's the one that just took off. So it was definitely a wild moment when that happened.
That's awesome. So I mean, I'm curious. That's why I'm asking you. Otherwise, I would have just stopped with the questions. But like months ahead, right? Like you
Mhm.
saw so many people uh, creating more memes out of it, right? Like there were covers, people were playing guitar, like someone is
Yes.
beatboxing, and and
Hmm.
all these derivatives being created, right? Like what was your reaction? Like how
I mean, honestly, I love it, and I love it to this day. Like people finding unique ways to
Mm,
create Nyan Cat in their own special way. And there was some really funny ones. Like I know Jay Leno had a parody on his show about it. A lot of big names and a lot of big programs and TV
mm,
shows have been influenced by my stuff. Like I'll be watching TV and I'm like, hey, I know what they're doing there. But
yeah.
it's really cool. Like I have people all the time going, hey, look at this. This is this piece of art or whatever. And I just love all the fan artwork of it. It's just it definitely
Mm,
is a surreal experience knowing that people are putting so much creativity into my artwork and like having fun with it. And that's kind of what it's all about at the end of the day, just having fun. And that's kind of what I picture Nyan Cat, like the just
mm,
embodiment of fun and cuteness and just cats. Like that was like
yeah.
the whole energy I put into it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so I have a very important question for you. This is speaking historically, like cats have been a super favorite of people on the internet, right? Like even early YouTube, uh, the most viral video was a cat video, right? And we have been like, why do you think this is the case, right? Like why do humans like cats so much?
Well, first of all, I do want to like offer a little correction that on the early days of the internet, I know like in the early 2000s, the internet favored dogs. Like that was
Hmm.
the thing. And people were like, cats, I don't know why I would want a cat. But then there was like a sudden shift. Like
Mhm.
I think people realized that cats were a lot cooler than they previously thought. And they kind of flipped. They kind of flipped. I remember specifically like dogs were a big deal, and then cats were a big deal. And I've always been a cat person. Like I've my grandma, she owns so many cats, and like I would just play with them all the time. So I was just always been a fan of cats. So I was like, yeah, I'm down for this. Like I'm down for the internet adopting cats. But I really think people love cats just because, like, at the end of the day, they kind of do whatever they want. They're kind of like they're jerks, but they're cute and also lovable. Like they have like all these qualities that make us keep wanting to come back to experience a pet a cat. And cats are just really fun and cute animals. I actually own 3 of my own right now. Not something I wanted. I expected in my life, but here I am with 3 cats, and I love every single one of them.
It's very nice to hear. So Nyan Cat is not the only character, which you have created, right? Like you had something called LOL Comics. And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so actually pronounced it LOL Comics, but
I'm sorry.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I thought no,
yeah,
no, it's all
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But yeah, LOL Comics was something that I created before Nyan Cat. I want to say I want to say it was about 20 years ago when I first posted my first one, way back when LiveJournal was a thing. And LOL Comics was kind of my way to vent about my life, to talk about people around me. Like most of the comics were based around like experiences that I was having, like people coming to me and causing scenarios and stuff. So like all of them were kind of based off true events, or at least based off of like a lot of ideas that I had at the time. But I felt it was like my way to really just kind of like put my feelings into the artwork. Like I would be drawing, and then if a face had to like have a certain characteristic, like I would like watch myself on a webcam and like kind of draw myself out, kind of thing. It was just kind of like a small passion project, and but that took off huge as well. I know one of the biggest comics out there is one of my first ones, where basically I'm on the computer and it's a beautiful day outside, and there's like a sun that's like, hey, come outside, and I'm like, no, and I shut the window and I'm like back on the computer. um, and there's like a whole bunch of other ones featuring my cat out there. But they've always just been, they've really just always been a place to just like express my feelings in the world. And you can kind of see that in some of the comics, because like some of them have a lot of anger in them, some of them are just like, a lot of fun. But yeah, I am actually still making comics. However, what new people should understand is that sometimes it will take me a long time to make a new comic, just because I'm not really in the mindset for it. I know in the past it's taken me sometimes like years to make another one, but I know that there's like a community revolving my comics, and people love anytime that I put a new one out there. So I love that as well, that people love my artwork so much that they resonate and share it with their friends and stuff.
That's very nice to hear. So, from what I hear from you and what I understand, and what I see is you've always been a bit early to a lot of things, right? Like I think you were doing online comics, and like you were creating memes when it wasn't that famous, right? Like even live streaming, we all know, right? Like how Twitch is
Oh yeah,
popular right
yes,
now,
yes.
but I think back in the days it was barely anything. And like even now, like memes come every minute. But like back in the days, like a meme cycle was so long.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah. So
um,
how do
yeah,
you feel about that?
it is funny, and I love that you mentioned that, because that's very true. Like I never really meant to like get into stuff early, and there was no like rhyme or reason to anything I would do. I was just that was just how I was on the internet. I think just like being on the internet all the time back in the day, because it was literally my life. Like I would just not leave the internet. And you kind of learn the trends a little earlier than others. But yeah, like yeah, you're right. Like I used to like live stream video games before like Twitch even took off, before Twitch was even a word. Like I would do that all the time, just play like Super Mario games, and people would just watch and comment. But like nothing, I never really thought it would become as huge as it was. Otherwise, I would be doing that maybe. But yeah, so um it definitely it definitely is just kind of how I do things. Like I'm always just on the creative side. I'm literally everywhere on the internet. Like every time I'm on the computer, I have like 7 windows open, and I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from just the world in general. And back then, memes definitely were, I would say memes were kind of what's the word? Like not taken seriously, I would
Yeah,
say. They were
yeah.
kind of seen as jokes. And I know that a lot of times I was actually interviewed for a lot of big, like big news media outlets, and they were just like, why? Like why is this a thing? And I'd be like, I don't know. It's just what people like on the internet. It's just the way it is. And they still don't get it even to this day.
Yeah,
So like I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like even with memes, like memes are, well, I don't know, memes especially this year, I feel like have really taken off. And I think people are now starting to respect memes, like not just as funny little images with text
Mhm.
on them, but like
Mhm.
people now are sharing news with memes. Like I get most of my news with memes, for example. Like, you know, there's so much information that can be learned with memes, and I feel like they're so easily digestible. You can like understand and remember it so well. So like now memes are like really starting to take off now. But I remember way back then when I would just like post memes and like only the cool people on the internet would laugh about it. You know, like all the people, all the tech people would not retweet my stuff. But now they're all doing that. So I'm like, I see you. Like I see you finally caught on that
Yeah.
memes are finally like a powerful source of
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, they are. They are. And I think like back in the days, they were like rage comics, right? Like they were just, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, they were way more simpler. It was just like literally a photograph, and then there was like a top text and the bottom text, and then that was the joke. Like a lot of the times, like sometimes you could get fancy with it by like having a little background to it
Hmm.
with like rainbows and stuff. But like back then, it was literally like top text, bottom text, and that's it. And those would get huge, and those, you know, a lot of big characters came from that. I think like Success Kid came from that. Overly Attached
That's
Girlfriend came from that. Like, you know, a whole bunch of memes that we know now became iconic from just that simple format back then. Now memes are more intricate and more complex because
Hmm.
everybody's trying to like one up each other. But back then it was so easy. You just literally type a funny joke, pass it on, and then it just goes around the world like
Do you
like
know any
crazy.
of those guys like who were part
Oh
of
my
the?
gosh, yes, yes. Okay, so this year has been the craziest year for me because I have met so many meme creators, like people that you think are just enigmas on the internet, people that you don't think even exist. I have not met them personally, but like I've chatted with them, I've made friends with them, and I've helped them actually get started with the NFTs. It's definitely been a voyage because NFTs are such a there's like a high wall of entry because you have to learn crypto, you have to like get a wallet, you have to get set up, and that's not something you can do in a day. But once I like verified that the person talked to me was definitely like a meme creator, like I've talked to like Scumbag Steve, Grumpy Cat, Keyboard Cat, Overly Attached Girlfriend, Creepy Chan, Harambe's photographer. Actually had a discussion with Carol Baskins a few weeks ago. So like Chris, stuff like that. There's like a whole meme arsenal that I've met along the way, and they all kind of share the same story where they all became famous over something that they had no idea would become famous, like would explode. And they're all just here to like, you know, get proper attribution now. Like the internet kind of took over and took all their stuff, and they're like, hey, you know, like I just want to let y'all know that I'm the creator, you know, like so you know, it's definitely a cool experience helping all these people out, especially because a lot of them have gone all these years seeing their stuff take off without even them, you know, having any hands of it. So it's definitely been a wild and crazy experience. And every day I'm like getting all these new meme creators that I'm like, oh my gosh, I know you. Like, and it's just so surreal knowing that not only these people exist, but they like want to like have discussions with me, and that I'm helping them out on their journeys to whatever they want to do in life.
That's so good to hear, right? Like because um like if you're just going on with your day-to-day life, you will never think this would happen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they're
Like yeah.
definitely. So that one thing that people don't know is like that memes have like the meme creators, like there's like a whole subculture for them. Like, you know, we all kind of have like this in the channel we all discuss stuff with, but like and we all share our stories, and it's so weird. You see a picture on the internet, you just, you know, you don't understand the
Mhm.
work and everything that's been put behind it. But like I've met these people and I understand their passion, and I
Mhm.
understand why they're like trying to, you know, get proper attribution for their work. And
Yeah.
it's just like really exciting, and I just love helping them out because like I know I was in that same position years ago. I had no idea what to do,
Mhm.
and I had to learn things along the way, and I'm just happy to offer my experiences with them in hopes that, you know, whatever they do with their projects, it kind of helps them in the long run. And I feel like that has helped them. I actually like with all these meme creators and involved that I've helped, I am pretty sure that I've helped them raise altogether like over like 1,000 Ethereum, which is huge. And I don't even take a penny from it. I'm just here just to help them. And and it feels good every day. It feels good every day just knowing that these people are like getting, the attribution that they deserve. And I'm just here to help. So
I'm so
here to help
happy
all the
to
memes.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy to hear that, because yeah, I mean, you are, like, leading the way and getting other creators involved in the NFT space. It's very nice of you. And talking about NFTs, I want to ask you, how did you get into NFTs?
It's kind of a funny experience. I have a good friend that I've known for over 20 years. Her name is
Mhm.
Lizzie, and she actually is the one that introduced me into NFTs. She sent me this article for Super Rare at the time, and she was like, "Look, all these artists are making really cool stuff, and not, they're making money and they're getting known. They're getting like, famous on the internet just for their artwork." And at first I was literally starting to get into crypto.
Mhm.
I just bought like some Dogecoin and some Bitcoin and some Ethereum, and I had no idea what to do, and I was still fresh into the world of crypto. I had no idea what was going on, and at first I was like, I don't know if I can even like start this. But then I started reading into it, and it started making more sense. Like literally, it's not just the artwork. It's like the whole blockchain experience where everybody can validate that you are the artist behind the artwork itself. And I found that really powerful. And that's really what got me started. But yeah, I actually am still fairly new to crypto in terms of the whole timeline of events. I've only been in it for about 8 months now. I really started learning in January, and the first drop that I did was in February. So that's how. But however, like in the NFT world, like 8 months feels like 3 years. It's a mile a minute in the NFT world. But yeah, I'm still new to it, and I'm still learning stuff every day. But I'm just excited for what the future holds for them, because it's I've already kind of seen glimpses of the future, and I'm excited. I'm just so excited to make it happen.
That's really nice to hear. And like you said, right? Like, I think every week is like almost a year now, because
Yeah.
like things are moving so fast. So let's talk about February, right? Let's talk, like, you just got in, and like February is when you sold the original, like the first piece, right? Okay. So before I ask you that, I want to understand, right? What were you thinking? What would you make out of this, right? Like, what were your expectations?
Oh my. Well, first of all, I had no idea that Nyan Cat was such a highly revered icon in the crypto space. That was a shock to find out, because I know that day that I minted it. It exploded there. It was like a whole new resurgence. It was just like day one of the original meme. Had a lot of like news agencies contacting me. Like so many people knew about it, and just the fact that I was jumping into the crypto space was just like groundbreaking news for everybody. And I was like, oh, what? I'm literally here just trying to have fun, but you guys, it's so crazy. So it was definitely a crazy it was a crazy experience, for sure. I had no idea what I was doing, but everybody was talking to was being really helpful along the way, and they guided me into the first auction. I know the people from that foundation, they were super helpful in getting me set up, because I was just, setting up so confusing. And yeah, so I decided to actually remaster the original image, because I the original image is 10 years old, and I've kind of like learned a lot of stuff along the way. So I made it a lot nicer, and I made it bigger for the NFT form. In terms of the auction itself, I had no idea what to expect. I was maybe expecting like 5 Ethereum tops. And that's kind of how the auction started. It started, and it kind of like stalled for a little while. And I was like, okay, that's fine. If it's there, it's not. But then bids started getting up. I know it got to like 20 Ethereum at one point. And I was like, this is awesome. Like this is already life changing, and I'm really happy. And that was within the first few hours of the auction. But then the last hour is when things exploded. I was actually on live stream with one of the people from Foundation, Lindsay, and we were just kind of like having fun, talking about memes and whatever. And I had the screen next to me, and I just see the numbers going up, and then by the time we reached 300 Ethereum, like we were both like screaming on the computers. We were just like, what the hell is going on? And that was just a huge life-saving, like huge life-changing moment for me, because not only did it start the sale, but it just showed me that the NFT space is really powerful and where I want to stay, because it's just so much. I don't know. It's just so much technology involved and so much like artistic. Like the artists are like the top of the game now in the NFT space, and way back then it was you would struggle to get any art out there. Like I know with Nyan Cat, these past 10 years, it's been a lots of ups and downs, and companies that would come to me try to work with me, they would just kind of see it as something they could throw away later. But here in the NFT space, people value the artists, and that is so huge. And I feel like all artists should definitely get this just all the time, because putting thoughts into artwork is so difficult, and a lot of people don't realize that. So I love the NFT space for making artists have the platform they need to become successful.
That's such a nice story, and it's so good to hear, right? Like, because you were like, oh, if I make 5 Ethereum, it will be quite cool, and like
Yeah. Oh,
when
yeah. Oh, yeah. So I forgot to mention that I was like actually unemployed at the time, and Texas was going through like one of the worst freezes ever. Like I had no electricity, no power, so I was like struggling to do all this. So I was like, if it makes 5 Ethereum, this will totally like get us through this, and we're gonna be fine. But we were just so blessed with like a big big bid, and it's changed our lives ever since. And not only has it like just brought in all this revenue for me, it's helped me have the creativity to start other collections and collaborations with other artists and helping others out there. So I love the platform that NFT space has like given me along the way.
I'm so happy to hear that. Who was this buyer? Did you get a chance to talk to them?
I have discussed things with the buyer. They do want to remain anonymous, so I do want to respect that. But I know that they're a big fan. They've like known about Nyan Cat for years, and I've talked to them about it, and they say they're probably not going to sell it because they know the value behind it, and they know that over time it's going to be like one of the most valued NFTs out there, is what not only this person said, but like a lot of people have said. So I'm like, yes, like I'm so glad that you have it, and I'm just so happy that this person trusted me enough to like put in a bid like that, because I know in the NFT space there's a lot of like, sometimes it's a little it's hard to figure out who's honest and who isn't. And I'm just happy that this person put that much faith in me, and it's totally changed my life, and I'm grateful every single day.
I'm so happy to hear that. Um, so you were just talking about collaborations, and like how the NFT space opens door for artists to like work together and play a positive sum game. What would you like? What are the kind of collaborations did you do? Anything you'd like to mention?
Yeah, so there have been some really big collaborations, but I'll kind of go, down the list. I haven't done many collaborations because I've been doing like my own projects lately. But at the very beginning, I collabed with a very talented artist named Christy Glass, who does pixel cats of her own, and I was like, this is a perfect fit. Let's get going. And then I did a collaboration with Art Petio, who does stuff on Super Rare. His stuff is like very 3D and very stylized, very smooth, and really cute artwork. He wanted to do a rendition of my comics, the LOL comics. So it had like all the major characters in there, and it looked beautiful. I had a few other collaborations along the way, and then all of a sudden Snoop Dogg actually like decided to want to work with me, and that was like just reading that introduction email, I was like, wait, Snoop Dogg, like. So apparently Snoop Dogg is a big fan of Nyan Cat as well, and we ended up doing a 2 NFT collaboration where I basically created a Nyan Cat that was in the shape of a leaf, and then I made one that was in the style of Snoop Dogg himself. Like I called it Nyan Dog, and it like has the chain, has the hat, like, and it's based on his character, who's actually also a dog. back in his really, really early iconic albums, the Doghouse albums, and the Doggy Style album, excuse me. And I kind of like, I had to do a lot of research, but I made it as close as possible to the original design, and the whole team loved it, and it did really well. And I'm really happy that Snoop Dogg like chose me. I want to say I might be one of his first collaborations. I'm not really sure his history with NFTs, but I am pretty sure he had just launched another NFT on a different service. And then right after that is when we did our thing. So like it's very early on that timeline, but it's always surreal. And I just love just telling people that I'm working with Snoop Dogg, because like, you know, it's just a cool thing to have on your resume, I think, at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
yeah. And that's super impressive, right? Like who would have thought that like you get to collaborate with Snoop Dogg and doing it in your style, which like like I think artists don't generally get to do, right? Like because most of these collaborations, like people tell you like, hey, this is what we want, and but I think
Right.
um Snoop Nyan Dog was like completely your style, and I think like you had
Well, I mean,
yeah, yeah,
it was my rendition and style, but
yeah,
it was based on his character. So like, you
yeah,
know, like his character already existed. I just kind of like, I
right.
researched it. I had like all these screens open. I'm just like, gotta get this as close as possible. But
That's
you know,
yeah.
I think the Snoop Dogg team loved it.
Mhm.
They loved how it definitely incorporated the old, you know, unique, iconic Snoop Dogg looks. And
Mhm.
I feel like I hit that out of the park, because like
Yeah.
one thing to explain, it's hard to create a Nyan Cat, because like it's, if you it's like 30 pixels that you have to work with, like less, it was like 30 to 60 pixels, and it's kind of like drawing on a grain of rice, but like I somehow managed to make that one work. And I'm really happy and just excited that it exists, because that one
Mhm.
actually went for, I want to say 15 Ethereum, and and that was like months ago, so it's, you know, it's only gone up in value since then.
Very cool. So Snoop Dogg recently revealed, like, he's like heavy into what do you say, the NFT ecosystem, and he's
Yes.
bought a lot of Fidenza and like all these
Oh yeah.
expensive things. What did you think about that? Like, did you know, or like, what was your reaction?
You know, I had no idea that Snoop would buy all those items, but I've seen that. I think I want to say he owns a few CryptoPunks, or
Yeah,
at least one
he
CryptoPunk.
owns one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, wow, that's huge. Yeah, he's definitely out there buying some really high end stuff. Like I've seen the tweets lately. He's definitely been on a shopping experience. And I'm just like, wow, he has this one now. That's awesome. But it's cool knowing that Snoop Dogg understands the space, and like, you know, and has made these big choices, because those are some like big play moves that, you know, those NFT pieces that like that have been purchased. So it's just cool. It's cool seeing him get it, because a lot of celebs, they'll come into the space and they'll do their NFT and then they're gone. They're doing something else. But like Snoop Dogg is here. He's not only buying NFTs, but he's like creating NFTs with utility now too. Like he's got like the Snoop Dogg Experience NFT, which will like give you access to like his metaverse experience, which is pretty cool. So it's cool seeing celebrities not only, you know, cash in, but stay and help others, and like, you know, create their own stuff along the way. So I'm really happy, and every time that Snoop tweets about something, I'm just like, yes, like you get it, you know, you're
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome. Um, I was not I didn't think about it, but just as we're speaking, uh, you got 300 ETH, right? Right,
Yes.
and then like, why did you stay back? Right, like I mean, you could have just cashed out
Yeah.
and live like a king, and like
Yeah.
not bother.
Well, okay, first of all, I had to read up on taxes, which like that's a whole realm, and I hope everybody that's doing NFTs definitely reads up on it, because it is not pretty at the end of the day. But it I think of that moment when I got that 300 Ethereum, and I saw not only like, you know, not the cash value, but the power involved. That's what really made me stay. I was like, artists are definitely respected in this space, and it's so difficult anywhere else to be to reach that kind of recognition with art. It's just so difficult in the traditional world. Like if you were to make a painting and sell it, you'll no longer see it again. But on the blockchain, everybody will see it. Everybody can track where it goes, and there's a value attached to it at all times. And that's huge. Like I never even thought that was possible until this year. But that's one of the biggest reasons I stayed, and just because it's fun. Actually, like once I got that 300 Ethereum, I was like, you know what? Now I can just have fun. Like this is enough money for me to have forever. Although I'm actually holding it because I truly believe in Ethereum right now. So I'm still like living my day-to-day life. I'm not like renting yachts. I'm not like having lavish lifestyles. I know with some of the money I actually upgraded my house because like I just bought a house. So there's a lot of upgrades along the way. Actually, am planning something for like a bathroom remodel pretty soon. So like, I'm not going crazy with it. I'm holding most of it because I just believe in the space, and I feel like in a few years this is just gonna get crazy. Like years ago, like when Bitcoin was just pennies, people, those people that bought into it just held on tight, and now those people are just living life as best they can. So I'm optimistic that Ethereum will do the same thing over time.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Talking about the ecosystem, you are actually adding value to the ecosystem, and you have created something called Club Nyan Cat, and like that's
Yes.
very recently, right? Like it's just few days back. So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes. All right. So first of all, the metaverse is a whole nother level. Like I'm in it for the art, but the metaverse, oh my goodness, there's just so much more stuff involved. And I'm actually like these past few weeks, I've been like mentally drained just because it is a lot of work. But I got introduced to Decentraland by my friend Zeta, who's like really huge in the NFT space. He knows a lot of big players out there. And with his help, I was actually able to get introduced to this community called the Last Slice community. And from there, there's a lot of artists there that do metaverse designing, and they're really, really good at it. And we just made friends, and they were like, hey, you should definitely have a club. So we went retail, we went like landmark shopping on the Central Land, and it was like shopping for a home. Because like we would pop into a piece of land, and we would just kind of like walk around and be like, this place has this nearby, but I don't like this. Like, kind of like if you're shopping for a home. And eventually I settled on a place that had a pretty good location. Like it's near like a nice little digital like forest, and it's near a lot of the big properties that are out there already. So I feel really lucky to have this space. And then came the building aspect of it. I had to get like a dev team involved, which was something brand new to me. But everybody's really, really cool about it, and they've all been really helpful. And I and yeah, like so it's been taking a few weeks, and honestly the club still isn't ready yet. There's still a lot of stuff to get worked out. But we did a soft opening for Club Nyan Cat a few days ago, and it ended up being one of the biggest things in the Central End, because like people stayed there for almost 24 hours just hanging out in the club. And there's people there, like I think I checked a few minutes ago, and there's people there right now just hanging out. Like they will literally just they'll park their character there just because they like the music and the club and the ambiance and setting. But I always was inspired by like the 70s, nightclubs with the floor with the lights on it and stuff like that. And also arcades, like in the 80s and early 90s, arcades were a huge thing. So I kind of wanted to incorporate both of those ideas into a club setting. And that's kind of what happened. Like the first floor is the club, where there's like the dance floor and there's a bar, and then actually have Nyan Dog as the DJ for that bar, and then Nyan Cat is the bartender at the bar. And then on the second floor you have the arcades, where I have some of my Nyan Cats, like they're playing the video games. They're just kind of like moving back and forth. I'm just trying to have it interactive and fun. And then I decided to add a utility aspect, because now utility is starting to become more mainstream, and a lot of projects do, they don't require it, but they kind of like, would like it in there. So I'm still working on this right now, but the initial launch, we made it so that if you own any of my Nyan Cat pieces, whenever you're in Club Nyan Cat, you're gonna have a little Nyan Cat that follows you around. And people love that, and like, and a lot of sales came in the moment that was announced, and a lot of people, and I feel like that's gonna encourage people to hold on to my artwork a little longer. So I'm like excited for that. Right now, I'm actually working, and I haven't really revealed too much of this information because, like, I don't like to reveal stuff until it's like 100% finalized. But I'm pretty confident we can make it happen. That we're going to make it that let's say if you buy a pumpkin Nyan Cat, it just came out with the pumpkin spice Nyan Cat. If you're at Club Nyan Cat, you'll have the pumpkin spice Nyan Cat on you. Like if you buy the lucky Nyan Cat, which is like a shamrock, you'll have the lucky one. It's gonna be a slow rollout, so like please, please be patient. Anybody watching this, but we're working on it pretty much every single day. So my goal is to have every single Nyan Cat have that utility. And the fun part is that the code that comes with the Nyan Cats to follow you around can be shared with others. So I'm working on actually spreading the code to the central land, to a lot of big venues. So, more people can see it, and more people can be like, hey, where'd you get that Nyan Cat? And then they'll tell them, and then people will want to buy more. So that's the goal right now. Yeah, big bang time. But that's the goal. It's still in very early productions, but we came out successfully with the first build just a few days ago. So I'm like, this is gonna be good. Now it's all about just tweaking the artwork to fit the other characters. But that's gonna take a little time. But I'm hoping that I have a second character ready to go before Halloween is over. So stay tuned for that. I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm really excited for that.
That's awesome. And anything you can hint, or I mean, of course, I won't ask you what character, but like any hints, what's coming?
Well, I mean, I can just kind of say it straight out. Well, like eventually all of the characters are the goal for doing that. So any Nyan Cat that you pick, assuming this all works out, every Nyan Cat will have their own unique character in the space. But right now I am actually working on the pumpkin spice one. Like I want that one to be first out the gate, because it's October, it's Halloween, and I want people to enjoy some like a fun Halloween experience. But it does take some time for each character, because like it's not something you draw. It's like a 3D space, and then you have to actually like modify it, and there's so much stuff involved. But like that's the goal. That's the I don't know the word for it, but that's the goal before the end of the month, to at least release one of the characters, and then we work with the rest from them. But yeah, I hope that when it comes out, everybody can be just excited as I am, because I've seen the builds for it, and it looks pretty fun.
Wow, that's so good to hear. And yeah, I never thought like you could do something like this even after, right? Like reading like thousands of, not thousands of, like a lot of hours every day of like things you can do. Like this was never in my head, but like this is so cool, right? Like this is why I love the podcast. So like we get to learn these things and understand like what all is happening in the metaverse. So yeah, we'll probably like I'll ask you quick questions. You can choose not to answer them as well. That's no issues.
Sure.
So currently, what are your favorite projects?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I have a lot of favorite projects.
In no order.
Yeah, well, no order. Okay, so I know that Twerky Club is the person that Twerky is his online name. He's actually helped me in the space, and I'm just like 100% behind him, because he's not only like artistic, but like smart on the development aspects. So I'm like, everything he does, I'm like here for. Christy Glass, who I collabed with way back then, is doing stuff every single day. So everything she does, I'm always really excited for. What other projects are there? I actually entered the fast food punks back when they were like 0.01. So now they're like, there was so much more. And I know the dev team behind that is working with a lot of like fast food companies. And I feel like that validates them, because they have like connections now with like Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's. Like they've raised a lot of money for people, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's awesome that you're giving back to people. So I'm really big on that. Oh my gosh, I have to like kind of look at my collection to see what I got. I don't know, like those are pretty big. I recently got into oh geez, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. There's a new collection that just came out recently called the Super Shiba Cub. club, and I have 3 of those, and I think they're really cool.
Did you pay some crazy gas prices to buy it?
I've learned lately that the mint, like, you know, when they have the website up and you can mint right on the spot, I've learned to avoid, for the most part, to do that, because the gas prices are definitely high. Like every time a new project comes out, that gas goes up hundreds of dollars. So I always wait just a few hours when the project's ready and done, and then people will start to what's called paper handsing. Well, they'll just like sell it below what they bought it for, and I'm just like yoink, like you know, like I don't have to pay for gas and I'm saving money. So
Yeah,
like,
why not?
but obviously that's you have to like look at the trends. You have to kind of be on it to before you buy anything. But I've kind of noticed that trend lately, and it's worked out for me because I've been able to get some stuff cheaper than the original prices. And the fun part with it is that if it's a good project, yeah, like, you know, it'll launch up, it'll go up, and then like people start selling. And then if you get in like a good spot and it's a good project, it'll just shoot up further. So like the
Yeah.
goal is to get it as cheap as possible and not directly at mint. Although, you know, directly at mint is necessary for a project. So, you
Mhm.
know, kudos to everybody that does it. But you know, for me personally, I like to get a bargain on things as much as I can.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm trying to do that with my NFT world experience.
That's awesome. Any NFTs you bought which you didn't think that, oh my God, like, they will appreciate so much in value?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So first of all, so many of them. Cyberkongs, I got into them right when they started, and I had no
Oh,
idea what was going on, but I got a few of those, and those did really, really well. I'm going down to my list right now because I have so many
yeah,
like NFTs now.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even I can't even recall. Oh
yeah.
yeah, Lucky Crypto Cats is another project. I'm always backing cats in general, and I got several of those back when they were like less than $100, and now the floor on
Mhm.
that is doing great. I see artists for less, you know, not the tech aspect but the artistic one, and I think Twitter is a huge factor for that as well. For me, getting into a project, seeing somebody not just post artwork and say, hey, here's this for sale, but actually contributing to the NFT space by just talking to people, being here every day, liking and sharing people's stuff, definitely gets the artist more recognition than just dropping their stuff and walking away. So I always kind of look out for that before I get in a project. I try to see how popular it is from there. And I feel like I've made some like awesome moves, but I've also made some moves that really didn't go anywhere.
Mhm.
And it's also weird because I've made some moves that didn't go anywhere, but recently had surgeons and now they're huge. So like it's one of those things with NFTs, you can't really tell where a project will be going because in the future it could definitely change.
Yeah.
And every day and every day it's just like a whole crazy new experience to see where things are with certain projects.
So, do you own any cool cats or moon cats?
I own 3 Mooncats. I actually got them back when they were, I want to say zero point 0.3 to zero point 0.4, and
Mhm.
now they're going to be auctioned off in a major house. And now, like the value for those have passed the one Ethereum level. I missed out on the cool cats, but I know so many cool cats. And I'm like friends with a whole bunch of them. I always like to say a disclaimer that I don't like to buy anything under like zero point 0.1, and so I totally missed that boat, but congratulations to every single cool cat holder because you guys are doing awesome. You know, I'm fans with a whole bunch of the Bored Apes because that community is just like stellar. Like it's one of the most hardcore communities in the whole place. And also another one that I've recently started getting into is called Dream Loops, where it's like it's really good pixel art, like generated pixel art, and I love pixel art. It's very vaporwave aesthetics, and they actually like have music attached too. So I have like 12 of those. But yeah, like I try to go for like pixel art and cats. That's kind of like my that's
Dream.
where all yeah,
Yeah.
that's like if both of those paths cross to an NFT, I'm interested because I, you know, it's just kind of how I am out there.
That sounds good. So I was gonna ask you, any artists would you recommend following, but I think you named most of them when I asked you about the projects. But like, if you still have
Oh yeah, well, you
any
know,
shout
actually
outs.
I actually have like this list that I made the other day. If I can just log
Awesome.
into Twitter real quick. It's like a,
Awesome.
uh, so this one's kind
Have
of
you
funny.
posted
And
it?
yeah, I actually did post it. It was
Okay.
like, I made it. It was like
We,
it was so many artists that it was like
yeah.
3 tweets because it was
Okay.
just,
So we'll
hang on.
link it. We'll link it to
Yeah,
the post.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually want to take a peek at it because I'm terrible with like memory stuff. If I look at it, I'd be like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I know that this one's a really weird project, but it's called The Power of Ass, and it's like this, it's like this, but that's through many different scenarios, and it's one of those things you have to check it out. And I know the artist behind it, and they hand drew every single one of
Mhm.
them, and I'm just like I'm blown away with how good the quality is for each and every single one of them. All right, here's the list. So yeah, Turkey Club's on there, Christy Class is on there. Those are like my two top people. I know what else. What else we got here? Lots of cats. I got into spring cats and wiggle cats. Spring cats are the cats that are like, like that Slinky toy from Toy Story, the Slinky dog. It's like that, but like a cat, which I'm really into. Wiggle cats, it's like cats wiggling their butts, which is kind of cute if you look at it. I really like Heaven Computer because they have like really cool 3D like angels and very weird mysterious like creatures that live in the NFT. And not only can you just look at it, you can actually like import them to a different website and like play with them and do whatever you want with them, which is really cool. And there's so many things. Oh yeah, I've recently like become really big into Pixel Lord. He's really awesome in the NFT space. He's been creating lots of like GM parody kind of characters, and he just came out with GM puns. So I have like two of those, which I'm really happy about. But yeah, there's really so many artists out there that I'm like into, and the list just goes on and on. But yeah, I'll just link you that list later because
Sounds good.
it's like 20 names right now on the
Awesome.
list.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, let's end this. Any tips do you have for new creators? Anything you would like to tell to
Yeah.
people?
So okay, the first thing that I would like to tell any new artist is to not panic, to not freak out. The NFT space is a speeding train, and it's unlike everything else that you'll ever see on the internet. So don't freak out with your stuff. I've seen projects that so there's two different types of like newcomer projects that I see that I would love to offer some insight on. So like a new artist will create new art and then they'll kind of see that it doesn't sell right away. So they'll like lower their prices and stuff like that, which can be fine depending on the project. But like sometimes they'll do it so fast, like it doesn't sell in a day, so they get discouraged. Definitely don't get discouraged. I've seen projects that can sit there for months and then all of a sudden one person buys from it and then it just explodes. So like don't think about it for the money, think about it just for your art. Get your art out there, get your stuff, like work hard every single day and people will notice that. Like don't just post it and say it's posted. Like engage in the community, and that's how people can see you, and that's how your project can get more value over time. Another thing to do is to look into smart contracts. That is huge because I know a lot of platforms, if you post something on their just like blanket, normal system, it'll be put into a collection which isn't your own. So definitely, keep your, definitely look into that. I personally have the Rarible custom contract. It wasn't cheap to get started, but I feel like it was one of my best investments. So if you're definitely looking into that, go for it. I know that OpenSea offers like a free way to do it, and a lot of projects have done really well with that as well. So those are those are some good starting options if you just want to like test the waters for the NFT space. I would suggest the OpenSea free mint contract just because it's sorry, it's like lazy mint. It's like it's very affordable compared to other ones. And if you are successful, you can move on to better and bigger things. Another thing I would suggest is to, yeah, like I said this earlier, but like engage in community. People want to see you active in the space. People want to see that they can believe in you, that you're here not just to get some money, that you're here to help others. So the biggest advice is like join Twitter Spaces, listen to what people are saying, learn from them. Don't approach people and say, "Hey, buy this." Approach people and be like, "Hey, I love your stuff," and then connect with them. And that is the biggest way to get new people into your artwork, because if you connect with them, you'll make friends. And if you make friends, if you need their help in the future, they'll be like, hey, can you retweet this? if I retweet yours or something like that, they'll be happy to do it in the long run. And honestly, you don't really know who's going to be big in the space. Like there's many people entering today right now that are just starting out, and in a few months they'll figure it out and they'll be like one of the best artists ever. So make friends, make connections. That is the biggest aspect in the NFT space, and don't go into it with money in mind. Go into it trying to just make connections and research and learn as much as you can and make friends along the way. And I feel like that's been my award-winning strategy, like just having fun, just helping as many people as possible in any way you can, even if it's just a like or retweet to something. That really does go a long way, because people do see that on Twitter, and Twitter is a huge tool for the NFT space in general, just because I feel like it's like the headquarters for NFTs. And then one small thing that I like to also suggest is, if you're an artist and you have a collection ready to go, make a pin tweet and add not just, don't just put the link there, but add like a video or an image, add like an image on top of that, and put the links to your collections or where to find more of your stuff, and then pin it. Because on Twitter, like I said, it's going a mile a minute, and everybody has a very short attention span. So, the sooner that, when you have that up there and people scroll by, they'll be able to see it right away. And then if they like your stuff, they'll go further. And I feel like that's one of the biggest, easiest and free ways to incorporate your marketing into your Twitter. But yeah, like don't freak out. The Twitter NFT space is wild, but I have seen the potential, and I have seen glimpses of the future of it, and I'm like totally in the space, and I'm just I'm just having a great time.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. It was lovely talking to you. And I think I personally learned a lot, and a lot of people who will be listening to this will also learn a lot. And it's been fun chatting to you. And it's just so nice to see what you are doing.
Yeah, no, I love sharing as much information as I can, because like I do know the NFTs are, they're still new, and I hate saying, oh yeah, we're still early, but like we really are still early, because there's people, like 6 months ago I was told I was early, and I was like, I don't believe that. But now 6 months have passed, and I have experienced how early it is for real, and I'm like, okay, I get it. So definitely don't freak out, but also don't put into don't spend as much as you can afford, and definitely look into taxes, because that definitely is a big factor when tax season comes along. But yeah, I'm here to help. If there's any meme creators out there that have made stuff in the past, I like to focus on the meme creators from like my generation, from like 10 years ago, because like those are the OG memes. Like those people, I'm here to help them, and I'm here to help them get set up. So, and I actually created the meme economy, is what I call it, where I've been helping all these meme creators, and I'm just like, here's, this guy's definitely scumbag Steve, for example, or like this person is definitely somebody that I know I helped the N64 kids just recently, a few weeks ago, and they're the coolest people now. Like they kind of are kind of like me, where once their stuff got big, they learned, and now they're like so much smarter for it. So I'm happy to have helped them out. But yeah, like it's definitely a wild space. And I hope everybody that listen to this can at least take something from it, and I hope it helps everybody along the voyage, because it definitely is Wild West territory out there. And right now everybody's kind of throwing stuff to see what sticks, but I think over time it's going to become more nuanced and more and easier to sort through the chaos. So just stick through it and just stay out there making art all the time. And and I'm rooting for everybody. I'm rooting for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for taking your time out. And it's been wonderful.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have a great time. I know it's Friday, so have a happy Friday and a great weekend.